For our lesson plan, we did the States That Matter for 4th grade. We used the standards to figure out what we were going to teach them. The first activity we did was a graffiti wall. I chose this activity because it assesses what they know, and then we used a PowerPoint to go over what they didn't already know. The graffiti wall is a great tool to use in the classroom because the students are able to collaborate and share their ideas about what they're learning. Our first experiment, we used a bottle and a balloon. We put the balloon on top of the bottle, and the students would squeeze the bottle. When they squeezed the bottle, the balloon would fill up with air. This shows that air does have matter and it takes up space. Because the concept of air taking up space is a little difficult to understand sometimes, we watched 2 videos that helped explain it. One video was a skit and the other was an experiment. Both the videos were very short, so the students didn't get bored, and they were pretty funny. The next activity we did, we took 3 bags to each group. One bag had a solid in it, which we used a rock. Another bag had a liquid, we used water, and the last bag had air. The students were able to hold these, look at them, observe them, and then write down what they seen. Then we shared it with the whole entire class. The students really seemed to like this, and they came up with some pretty creative answers. The next activity we did was get up and move. All the students went to the front of the room and got really close, like they were solid. They started vibrating, so it started heating up. Then they turned to a liquid and spread out a little bit more. They got even hotter and turned to vapor, so then they began to wander around the room. The next thing we did was our assessment. As you'll see later in the video, it wasn't a normal assessment. We used a game to assess our students, more particularly headbands. The students really enjoyed this. They didn't even seem like they knew they were being assessed. They were on teams, so it was like a race. 3 people from each team had a card on their head, and they didn't know what the word was. The other students had to describe the word, so the student with the headband on their head could guess it. Once they guessed it, they stood up. The first team to get all 3 members to stand up wins. This was a great way to assess the students, because not only were we assessing them on the states that matter and the things that come along with it, we were assessing them on how they collaborate and what their strategy was to win. The activities we chose for this lesson plan made it constructivist. The students were engaged the whole time. They were able to work in groups and collaborate. Although we did have a PowerPoint at the beginning, we weren't just standing up there and lecturing. The students were learning what they had not already put on their graffiti wall. This way, we made sure the students still learned what they needed to learn, but we didn't have to go over what they already knew. When most people think technology, they think of computers or laptops or iPads, but it's not always that. Technology can be as simple as a piece of paper and a pencil. So, although we didn't use the computer a whole lot, we did still use technology. For example, although not traditional, the graffiti wall was a form of technology because we used paper and we used things to write with. We also used Post-it notes. The graffiti wall is so great because it allows the students to be creative without putting barriers on what they can do. They can draw a picture, they can write out a story, they can write just a single word, whatever they want to do. They have the ability to do it. If I was to do this lesson plan again, there would be some things that I would go back and change. First, I would try to be a little bit more organized, so that way it flows a little bit better. Maybe have better transitions. I believe I would also arrange the room a little bit differently. I would make it to where every student was able to see each other, so that way the conversation would be a little bit more and the students wouldn't be so quiet. Lastly, if I would have had more time with the class, I think that I would have assigned a homework assignment to where they would make a video describing one of the something about the states that matter, and then they would present it to the class, because I believe that would be really fun and they would get to make something and put it where anyone could see it.